communicating with National Weather Service and local and state law enforcement so we can tell you where the storms are and what you need to do to stay out of harm's way. The Severe Weather Advisor is brought to you by Riley Armstrong Plumbing and Heating. Enjoy peace of mind that Riley Armstrong is here for you 24/7. Call 955-2232. Remember, when severe weather threatens, stay with your friends on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
There you go.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
We are making radio great again, certainly, because we have Kris Patrick here and her doppelganger. Morgan Fitzgerald is also here. Morgan, we haven't quite figured out what you do.
That's everything. A good question, isn't it?
You do everything. And so you have Real Deals. That's a business that you own. Is that correct?
Yeah, my husband and I, we own Real Deals on Home Decor, and that's just behind the library here in Fort Dodge.
Okay.
Yep. And we sell home decor and have a boutique in there and sell women's clothing.
Okay.
Well. Yeah.
Well, I'll be around. I'm not thinking of transitioning or anything, but if you have home decor, I'm all in for that.
That's fair. You'll have to stop down and check it all out.
And you work with Kris on quite a few things?
I try to when I can. I try to help out.
By the way, we're on StreamYard today, so go to my Facebook page, Michael Devine, or the radio station Facebook page, which is AM 1400 KBFD, or yourfortdodge.com. And again, we're streaming video here today. You will see the new and improved Kris Patrick. I'll tell you, she's much more colorful today than she has been in the past. Changed her hair.
Very vibrant.
Very vibrant, beautiful dress. I mean, you really put it on today, Kris.
Just for you, Michael.
Well,
just for you.
It's been a long time since a woman said that. In fact, I don't think a woman's ever said that.
Well, Morgan, you
I'm
said
a lonely man.
Poor Mike.
Poor Mike. Yes, please pity me. Anyway,
No.
so we're here to talk about, of course, Main Street. And by the way, this is a Growth Alliance time, the Fort Dodge Growth Alliance. And Kris and Morgan are here at their behest. We always try to have, and Kris and I swear to God, are going to do this. We're going to get together and have more entrepreneurs on the air and have a special time for people who have dreams and want to fight to see those dreams come true. So, what did you want to talk about?
Oh, a lot of things. First off,
things.
no, I want to thank Lydia and Dennis for allowing us to take their time today because we've got that ready to recruit.
They're okay with it. They'd have to come over.
I know. It's tramping up those stairs.
Yeah.
Ready to recruit. That's that survey that we have out. It is live on our Facebook and our website. We are trying to figure out what Fort Dodge and the surrounding area wants to see in the downtown as far as restaurants and retail. So without people responding to the survey, it takes about 5 minutes to take. We're just going to guess, and we don't want to guess at all, do we, Morgan?
No, we want to know what everyone wants. We want to give the people what they want here.
Is this a citywide survey or countywide?
This is you can be a alumni and live in Texas and still take the survey if you come back and shop in Fort Dodge. This is for anyone that shops in Fort Dodge.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of great spaces that would be perfect restaurants in the downtown. Do you want that to be a Chinese restaurant? Do you want it to be Italian? Do you want it to be breakfast only or lunch only or maybe high-end dinner? I mean, we want to know.
I don't know if this is ever feasible, but in my youth, I ate at a German restaurant, a higher-end German restaurant a couple of times. It was great. It was just the German food is terrific. Mm-hmm. And they used to have a place in Omaha called the Bohemian Cafe. People from Bohemia settled in the Omaha area, and it was just a period piece with checked tablecloths and the waitresses in period costume.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the food. Oh God, it was just out of this world. It was heavy stuff, But
yeah, it sounds good.
So we know what you'd vote for, huh?
Oh God, no. But an Italian restaurant, and we had one here for a short time, and the food was good, but it just didn't make it. I don't know if the location was bad out by the mall or what the deal was. But Italian restaurants are always great. Ethnic restaurants will always win with me, and I think with a lot of people. I'm not so much for French restaurants, but other people probably are.
Well, you never know. And do you want outdoor seating? Do you want to just indoor seating? Do you want to have one of those really new, fancy? Well, they're not fancy, but to me they're fancy. Family entertainment restaurants where the kids can go climb on the wall and the parents can sit around and have a couple brews and some wine, and everybody's having a good time at the same time. You're kind of separate, but you're in the same place.
I think I can speak for the majority of the people listening that we have enough burger places. I mean, we have a lot of different burger and soup and salad places. That's all great. But something else would, like along the lines you're describing, I'd be certainly, if you want to do the survey with me right now, I'm going to give it to you. Outdoor seating would be wonderful. Ethnic restaurants would be more than welcome. I mean, we have great Mexican restaurants. We've had a lot of immigration to our country in the last 50 years. And, you know, we've benefited because we have some great Mexican restaurants in our area. But I wish some Germans would immigrate or somebody.
Just so we could have that restaurant.
Just so we could have that restaurant.
So tomorrow's the last day of the survey. So please jump online, mainstreetfd.org. It's right there on the front page of our website, or our Facebook page has that link too. And this is through Main Street Iowa. It's that $15,000 grant, technical assistance grant that we received. So what we're going to do with this information is actually dive into it, look at it, because we are recruiting developers into the community right now. So as we're doing that, we want to be able to also recruit businesses and restaurants from other communities, other regions in the Midwest. And without input from the people who live here, we can't do that successfully. And that's our goal.
You said mainstreetfd.com, didn't you?
.org.
.org. That's what I did wrong. Okay, because I'm typing it up as we speak. Well, I would certainly, I'm going to take a survey. I'm
Great.
Right now. I'm actually doing it online, as I mentioned just a minute ago.
So everybody else can do the same thing as you, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hop on.
You want to be my mic, right? You want to be
There
like
you
a
are.
mic. There we go.
So you just click that button and you're off and running.
Okay. All right. So, this is Small Business Lab. That seems interesting.
Well, hold on. Does it go? Oh, don't tell me we've got a tech glitch. Just a
I
second.
don't know.
All right, Morgan, I hope you're listening. She can fix it as we're talking. Oh,
Well,
boy.
it's like we have business
Folks are
management, coaching, peer learning, roundtable.
You are actually in the business lab. That's a virtual business lab that, again, Main Street Iowa has been a partner with. We are one of 15 communities in the state that they are test running this with. So anybody that wants to be or is an entrepreneur, and maybe you have a question or you're trying to figure out the better way to do your books, you can actually have one-on-one sessions with experts in the field and with no charge to you. And you do not have to be a Main Street business. You can be any business in the community.
Okay, is this where we want to be here?
I think so. Here, let me pull it up on my phone. So while we're digging and typing, Morgan, do you want to talk a little bit?
So another thing that we just kind of wanted to share with you guys, I am in the process, myself and Real Deals, we're in the process of planning a fall fashion show. And it's been a while, but I imagine a lot of prior to the millennial generation, we have all been to these fashion shows, and they used to be at the mall, and there was a catwalk, and you got to check out all the fabulous fashion trends that were coming. Well, we plan to put on an event that's very similar to that. It's going to be on the town square, so just of our public library. And we're going to just pick up the square. We're going to fill it with vendors. So there will be a market kind of where you can kind of go shop. There will be a live catwalk. Like I said, it's 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. on October 19th. That night is a Tuesday night. In addition to the fashion show, we'll be having a trick-or-treating event that night too, up and down Central Avenue. So if you've got kiddos and you want to get a jump start on trick-or-treating, they might want to show off their costume a little bit early. Again, that is October 19th, and the trick-or-treating is from 5 to 7 p.m. And you'll know if businesses are participating. Instead of having their porch lights off or on, they will be putting a pumpkin in the window. So if you see a pumpkin in the window in any of those participating businesses or a pumpkin outside, you know that you can hit that place up with candy that night.
All right.
I know. We all love candy, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So October 19th, again, that is a big night downtown. There will be that trick-or-treating event and the fashion show. They overlap by an hour or so. Right now, I have about 25 vendors to come to that little market that we'll have down there, and they will be lining the sidewalks.
What is the date again?
October 19th.
October 19th.
Yep.
Okay, that's over.
So everybody needs to bring their checkbooks.
Right, everybody. I forgot to tell you about sales. If you want to say anything like that. So if you would like to come, bring your checkbook because we're going to rob you.
Well, the thing is, I think they're going to see so much amazing stuff. If they don't have it, they'll be a little sad.
Well,
Then
I
it's
would.
can't take it home with them.
I know.
I thought we just brought
You can do that too.
We can do that too.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
The nice thing about this vendor show or craft show is you're going to be supporting a lot of local businesses. Everybody that's coming as a vendor will be a local business. And, after this past crazy couple of years we've had, I think we'd all appreciate that a little.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm ready to. I'm ready to do a lot of things
Right.
outside that I missed. I'm so glad football here, for example.
There you go.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Just as an example. What are some of the plans that Main Street Fort Dodge has, Chris, right now, other than the survey we're talking about?
Oh, sure. So actually, we are in the process of getting the camera project up and going. The electrical,
Yeah,
Baker
that's a
Electric,
huge deal.
it is, isn't it? Baker Electric is running those electric raceways underground right now, so we can get cameras on all of the light poles in the downtown.
Say that again there. Baker Electric is doing what?
It's called raceways. I learned a new term. I didn't realize that conduit that you put underground and then
Yeah.
run the cord through is actually a raceway.
All right.
I thought it was something like you were in the car and you would go on, but
So
this
it's
is
not just a pipe.
it's not just
underground.
it's not just an underground pipe. It's an underground raceway. I have to use my new tech term, right?
All right.
Actually, I had to prove that to somebody. They totally did not believe me, and they had to look it up on their phone. So
Yeah, I've
you
never
know.
heard of it. You're telling me something.
Yeah,
Me
well,
too.
thank you, Ryan Mail, for that information.
Yeah,
You're the one
absolutely.
who taught me that. Anyway, cameras will be up in every block, 33 square blocks of the downtown,
Wow.
making sure
I
that
didn't
we're
hear
safe.
that.
So also they will be checking out alleys too. So really great coverage, real-time coverage. These feeds will go directly to the police station. So Main Street Fort Dodge is very proud and happy to partner with the city. We've donated $100,000 to this project to make sure that people are feeling safe and being safe in the downtown to help businesses like yours, Morgan.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think if nothing else, it just keeps everybody accountable.
It really does.
Keep us all in line.
Yeah,
That's another way to put it.
that's right. So if you come over and you pick my flowers out of my flower pot, I'm going to know it's you.
That
Is that
hasn't
right?
happened, has it?
No, never.
Well, just don't put one in my house because it'll show everybody how boring I really am.
Oh, come
Sit around
on.
watching football games this time of year. Anyway, did you say there was a fee for this camera service that the city is putting up? I mean,
Oh, no. This is free to
free.
well,
You said free. not
free,
fee.
FREE to the
All right.
businesses. So,
Okay.
I mean, we looked at several different plans when we first started. One was like grants for businesses to put cameras in their building, but then
Logistically, I think that was hard too.
It was
because
very hard.
We didn't know how to make the cameras communicate with each other and how to feed that data into a reliable or place that it can go.
exactly. So this way they go straight to the police. So no one property owner, if that property changed hands and the next owner said, I'm not up with this, then there would be a dead spot in that system. So this way it is public-private partnership. It's owned by Main Street Fort Dodge and the city of Fort Dodge. We're still working out the maintenance on that, but really great step ahead. And that should be up and implemented by November. So
Amazing.
You've been here a while now, Chris.
Yes.
And you have made a real effort, the city's made a real effort to get downtown going again. You have had success. But what have you found is the biggest impediment to businesses starting downtown? Do they want to go out to East Town or what is the situation?
I think it's actually public perception.
I totally agree. 100%.
Because our downtown used to look like a bombed out crater.
Yeah.
Could be.
Part of that, and another part, it's ironic, the public perception, because all surrounding my business, this is just an example. I don't have parking meters. I never have. I probably have access to 25 parking spots. And I still have people tell me that the reason that they don't come is because of the meters. I have never been into my
Those
business.
were not a popular move. I mean,
Well,
the city-
That's an excuse.
Exactly. And that's kind of exactly what we're talking about here. I think it just has been an excuse in a public perception. And that shouldn't be, that quarter regardless shouldn't be enough to encourage or deter people from supporting a small business.
Now, by an excuse, are you talking about an excuse for the customers or an excuse entrepreneurs not wanting to come downtown?
Well, I'm talking about customers that maybe haven't been here for a while, and it's just something that we've heard so much that we just repeat it without necessarily
Even
thinking,
knowing,
without even realizing that we're doing it. So
because it's kind of obvious to me that those people who are complaining about the parking meters in front of my business that don't exist are probably not my customers.
So that's an opportunity to get them downtown and let them know, there's no parking meters.
Well, some
downtown merchants, especially John Daniel over Daniel Farms, they do not like those parking meters. And McGregor Furniture cited parking meters as a reason.
Yeah.
The mayor didn't believe them. I don't know what basis.
It is ironic that we went there because Chris and I actually have been to a lot of the parking meetings that were happening amongst downtown business owners. And myself included, I'll admit, I walked in there thinking everybody here is going to hate meters. And that's what we're all complaining about. And the reality is a good chunk of people liked the meters. I would say close to half.
What people are you referring to? Merchants or?
Yeah, merchants. Really?
It is more traffic. I mean, right now we have a people problem downtown. We want more people.
Yeah,
and once we have the traffic issue, then we're going to have to reevaluate parking. But as of last night, the city did the third reading of parking. So now parking is 2 hours, free 2-hour parking.
Right.
Follow the signage in the downtown. The city is working on new signage for the permit lots. That's the word I was looking for, permit lots. But that will not be enforced until the signage is ready. So if there are questions about that, you can definitely reach out to the city or call my office, and I will do my best to answer your questions. But free 2-hour parking in the downtown. And as soon as maybe another situation comes up and it needs to change or be fluid, the city's willing to do that.
Absolutely.
So we are ready to make some progress and be willing to make some changes to adapt to our customers and to the people that come down for their businesses. But Mike, to your real question, is there a deterrent to businesses coming downtown? I think it's more education of how do I start a business? How do I make sure that I'm going to be sustainable once I get started? So I really think
traffic is always an issue. Yes. And I was downtown Saturday afternoon. You could have shot a cannon down since 11, not in his hole.
So people see that, and then maybe they see other locations where there's a lot more foot traffic,
right?
And they're deterred.
Could be.
Which is something we don't want. We want to encourage people to come downtown for whatever reason. I think the downtown country bash is a good deal. I'm sorry we didn't get to have the meal downtown.
I know. So Farm to Fork.
Farm to Fork.
We were really sad that we had to postpone that event, but we had a lot of people that had to be quarantined because of COVID exposure. So once that happens, you just have to adapt, and decided in the best interest of everyone to postpone our event.
You're listening to KVF.
Yeah, I think
Right.
I remember downtown was like,
Yeah.
and I would love to see it go back to where it was.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing is math.
You're kind of breaking up here a little bit. Can you move the phone? You don't have a radio on, do you?
I think the big thing is math.
Is
And
what?
letting everybody know what stores
Oh,
they're
math.
at.
Math.
Math.
MAPS, right? Maps.
Yeah. So everybody knows where the stores are and what stores are there.
I totally agree with that. And that's something that we have dedicated a lot towards. And I'm just speaking on my own personal behalf at Real Deals, because our downtown area is actually huge in comparison to most downtowns that are of our size. So whenever anybody comes into Real Deals, I'm handing them a map of places to go next, because I think education on how great our downtown is part of it. And I do think that, maps and directing people of what businesses they need to stop at is part of our job that we could probably do better at too.
So we don't have the physical maps. We were doing those for a while, but we were having to reprint them about every, 30 days. So I'm not giving a shout out or a commercial, but again, mainstreetfd.org. On the very first page on our website, there is an interactive map, and we have every single business listed in the downtown, and they are categorized. So you can click on a pinpoint, or you can search for it by name.
Hey, thanks for your my mic on. Thanks for your call very much. This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice before Dodge. We got a minute here. Would you like to convey another message before we go? Are we good? Are you said everything you need to say? Or?
Just please fill out that
The journey of grief is not one to walk alone. Gunderson's is here for you.
Divine Intervention is online at
That's right. And on the phone with us from Iowa Central is Jim Kirsten. How are you, Jim?
Real good, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Oh, not a problem. I'm kind of ticked off today, Jim. Once again, I know it's kind of my job to be ticked off, but I'm really ticked off here. Once again, representative democracy means nothing in the state of Iowa. I mean, the governor, both of our state legislative bodies decided that mask mandates were wrong. They passed legislation and sent it to the governor, who signed it. And now Judge Robert Pratt, who you know is a hack, a Democratic Party hack, has decided that we need a pause or a reevaluation, or perhaps to return power to local school boards. Not the state legislative body, not the governor, but to school boards, who in our school board here in Fort Dodge, at least the senior public school board is outstanding group of volunteers, but they should not be making and enforcing policy like this. I don't know what stronger message we can send other than giving the Republican Party total control over state politics. I don't know if the Democrats care, because they always hold an ace in the hole with a Clinton-appointed judge like Robert Pratt, who has a history. Well, when Donald Trump was president, he was called repeatedly insulting Trump in a highly partisan matter, and he was involved in the Barnum decision as well. In other words, he is a doctrinaire liberal sitting on the bench. And I'm sorry, you probably want to talk about Iowa Central. I'm kind of steamed about this.
No, actually, I think you got a good point. I think, again, I'm an advocate. I think the courts will overturn that ruling. So we, as Iowa, elect our members to pass laws, and don't like those laws, and we can vote the member out. But the courts can overturn and then make a decision overturning the majority of the legislature. And I agree.
I know what you're saying, but we still got Robert Pratt on the bench. You know, he's been there. Clinton appointed him back in '97, I believe. And he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be on the bench. But as a matter of fact, he is.
Yeah, he is. And you know, in Iowa, like or not, every 10 years our Supreme Court judges have to be voted out of town for detention. And that's what happened back to the three judges were voted out of the bench. Iowa's over month later, they took on themselves to interpret the law. That's not interpreted by the way.
Well, they made up law. They made up law. They imposed their personal preferences and then tried to wrap the law around it, which was obscene.
Right.
And it still is obscene. And I'm waiting for my fellow citizens to say enough of this.
You know, and I think that's something earlier about local control. I totally believe in local control, but for example, I thought it was yesterday. The Iowa legislature, to make it as diplomatic as possible, taking away road funding from the legislature and put it into a third-party Iowa DOT commission. And then the local governments can't play politics with it. It's because the field receipts overall management. And I think it's better to have that than to have, 99 counties deciding on, how the state should put money on Highway 20, whether it's in Sioux City or so yeah, there's real need for local control, and I think there's a balance to it. You can't have everybody going off the other hill. Same thing with Hannibal. The important question. You have state laws that regulate pollution by because you don't have 99. That's from courts. That's going to
Well, this whole the challenge to the law that banned mask mandates. That's hard for me to say. The origin was a woman in Council Bluffs who had tried to be a Potawatomi County over there. Tried to be a county supervisor and failed. She ran as a partisan Democrat. So she and others came up with a scheme to make it all about disabled children, to make the case as sympathetic as possible. And of course, Pratt took the bait. Judge Pratt took the bait right away. But I think what and everybody knew, I think there was a foregone conclusion as to what Judge Pratt, a Democrat, was going to rule in this case. There's no doubt about it. I don't know how we can regain control of our own lives and break the grip of the judiciary that they've had around our neck for a long time.
Yeah, I just think again, hopefully the two elections have mapped, meet things. And I think the next election we can make sure we have a governor or president that appoints that American people not vote for this bill.
Well, we've seen what happens when we turn the economy over to the Democrats, for God's sake. The price of gas is through the roof. Ethanol is in trouble. Yeah, Jim, you caught me on a bad day here, buddy. Maybe we should talk about something else. Did Iowa Central win their football game last Friday? Or Saturday, rather?
Last week, and they beat the #1 school in Class 3 college level, which is a real big victory for them. And they're still in the top 10. They're hoping to have a continued good season. So they're doing well. All of our athletic programs, all our rugby teams ranked #1 in the country. I think they were playing Army last week, and I don't know if they won or not. We have great athletic programs. And actually, our opponent looked better. The actual numbers are finalized yet, but we're going to roll.
You have a long time relationship with former ambassador, former governor Terry Branstad. Is he in retirement now? I mean, he's earned it. I mean, he's old.
Well, he's doing consulting on the side. I was with him last week. And he's doing just fine. I think he's enjoying a little bit more relaxed schedule, but he's still very engaged both in Iowa and across the globe.
Okay, all right.
So will not 9 to 5 every day.
I believe I heard that Governor Reynolds has now called a special session for October 5th.
Yep.
What's that all about?
Well, the census numbers, they have passed the new funding systems for state house, state senate, and for congressional delegation. So if they're going to come in, the maps should be done in the next week or so. And because ultimately they vote yes or no on it. And they're hoping they'll have bipartisan agreement that whatever the independent group is and the plan they came up with, spare it out. We want to have one day session to get out. So I'm optimistic. I was always had a very bipartisan and fair redistricting process. And I don't see any issue there.
Interesting situation out in California. I haven't heard any of the projections out of California. I think Governor Newsom is projected to keep his seat. Governor Newsom is an ardent Democrat. And my kind of Democrat comes from a very, very wealthy San Francisco family and been privileged his whole life. And he's always talking about privilege. Somebody else apparently has. Some guy that works as a truck driver for $15 an hour apparently has privilege, but Governor Newsom doesn't.
Well, I've heard it from the early voting was really high in favor of Democrats. But today, I guess the turnout really heavy. So just a wide open deal that, I told the polls showed that he was pulling away. But you never know. Like he did last president's election, you don't know until the final vote's counted or if it's counted. That's the question.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton had her acceptance speech already. She didn't even have a concession speech, from what I understand, when she lost late in the evening. But I don't know. The Democrats outnumber Democrats outnumber Republicans in California 2-1. So I don't know. But Governor Newsom really got recalled because he's a hypocrite. And that just gnawed on some people in California, Democrats and Republicans, and they wanted something better. I mean, he's passed some of the most, or demanded some of the most stringent masking requirements in the country. And then he goes to an expensive restaurant without a mask, where a dinner for two can cost a working man's salary in a week. It's just an obscenity.
It's amazing that people like that can get elected, but again, democracy, good or bad, and we'll see how that turns out. So I'm not afraid to do that.
Well, again, Larry Elder, who's an African American talk show host and he has been an educator in his past, he has been somehow tied to Trump. It's almost because Trump has been unpopular in California. Somehow, the ultra-privileged Caucasian Gavin Newsom is lashing out against the white supremacist Donald Trump candidate, who is a black guy by the name of Larry Hilder. I did. It's
unfortunately, it's like a real sad sitcom, you know.
it's really something from Bizarro world, I'll tell you. It is. It's a lunatic world anymore. I do not recognize our country. Jim, I really don't. You know, if we try to assert ourselves, then we have a Judge Robert Pratt or another Supreme Court of some sort.
Well, it'll be interesting to see the Democrats sometimes talk about what the plan is to defeat the judge's group, overturn it. I know the political party is not just Iowa. They think they're going to try to push back on the arbitrary decision.
Well, I have to think that Governor, as soon as she heard Judge Pratt, I have a feeling that everyone knew that Pratt was going to make this decision. Another smug, sanctimonious decision. You know, never mind the people of Iowa. Never mind their desires, how they feel about their own children's safety. They've already voted on that issue, but we have to have Robert Pratt, a judge, saving us from ourselves.
Football games being played in South if there's not a huge uptick in COVID infections, then are we over? We want to be careful, but again, there's a balance being safe and then also living a life.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. We'll have to see if the Iowa State game was really a super spreader event. You know, I've talked with people in Des Moines, and of course, the Iowa Department of Public Health keeps putting out these figures that COVID is going through the roof. But a friend of mine's daughter is a nurse at Mercy. She doesn't see any huge influx. I know this is apocryphal, but I talked with news media people in the Des Moines area. They're having trouble finding the source of the Iowa Department of Public Health's information. I guess that's the way I should put it. They don't know where the numbers are coming from to support this sort of. Because
here at Iowa Central, I think we just got an update this morning. We only have one faculty member that is currently infected and then 2 students, and that's out of several thousand students and people that work in the area. So, knock on wood, we're in good shape. But, you never know what's going to be happening in the next day.
No, a year ago, it's close to a year ago, I got COVID in November. I know that there was a big push. Well, I shouldn't say push, but a lot of people came to the hospital with COVID. The nurses were telling me, I spent 5 days in the hospital. The nurses were adamant that I should stay longer. But my doctor said, well, if he wants to go home, send him home with some oxygen and make sure the Webster County Public Health people visit him every day. But we need the bed space because there's other sick people coming in.
Right.
So
luckily you were able to cover from that.
It was tough, and I still have heart problems as a result. COVID's a respiratory disease, of course, causing my left lower lung lobe to fill up with fluid, making it difficult for me to breathe, and that problem then turned into atrial fibrillation, and I've had a couple of cardioversions and an ablation, and they're now talking about doing another one. I may be even in line to get a pacemaker, which none of those things sound good to me, but if that's what has to happen, then but all of that came from COVID, all of it.
Well, it's serious. I'm not going to wood. My wife had it. I've never gotten it. I've been fully vaccinated. Really never know.
I think the court, and this might give me some comfort as to the court's stability and objectivity. I think the court system is going to push back on President Biden's demand that all federal employees get vaccinated. That really is an invasive procedure. I know I'm vaccinated, Jim. I urge everybody else to get vaccinated.
Right.
And if we have to wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. But there has to be some line that a panicky government cannot cross in its search for immunity to COVID. And I think President Biden, of course, has crossed it again. He hasn't impressed me so far as president.
No, I'm looking forward to see what happens with the
Well, Joe Manchin of West Virginia is a Democrat, of course, and he's just not going to vote for that big bill. He's just not going to do it. I'd be interested in seeing how full of pork that bill is, directed at Democratic states, of course, and especially California. This is Nancy Pelosi pushing the big bill because Lord knows she wants to pay back her supporters with our money, and she'll do it. That's where most of the. Go ahead.
The way the smaller bill is written, like I think that it can be distributed via the federal funding program. So, for example, HIPAA money, it'll come through it. It won't take no from Fort Dodge, Iowa. It'll have the money go to the state and the states without collecting. Because they have what they call community earmarks, there might be some funding under those stretches of highways like the Butte, but whatever. But generally, I think they're going to try to keep it so it's not all that important that we used to. But again, in this kind of bill, you never know.
Yeah, you don't. I was not too pleased with former President Trump for blowing those two Senate seats in Georgia, and he's still out there prowling around. I don't know if he's a legitimate candidate for president again or not.
He's coming to Iowa October 6th.
Oh, he is. Is that a weekend day or?
Yeah, Saturday night, I guess.
And he's coming to the state fairgrounds to do what? Just a rally or?
Yeah, just a Trump rally, and I guess he's been having them in some of the major cities and the crowds are huge. So the majority still out.
Well, the crowds are huge, and I keep saying this, not because of Trump. Now, Trump may think it's because of him, but it's really not. It's because we're sick of an overweening court and all these bossy regulations and Joe Biden and his Clint Eastwood impression that he always does, talking about systematic racism if some little white guy from Delaware has never told a racist joke in his life. Come on. I mean, it's hypocrisy, and it's authoritarian, and it's everything that we shouldn't have in the United States of America.
You know, I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. You know, look at Hamilton County. I don't think they've ever voted majority for a Republican president in many, many, many years. And Trump's rate was 70%.
Yeah.
And those were a lot of the blue collar, former elected workers that were union people. They got tired, you know, both administrations, Republican, Democrat, previously to ship jobs to Mexico, the jobs from elected to Mexico, now back to South Carolina.
Jeez.
But you know, they're frustrated, so they wanted a leader that will actually try to fight for him. And you know, of course, they felt like they were prevail. I don't think they've done that.
I don't know if he is either, but I've heard from some people after Electrolux or the Web City Products or whatever it was toward the end moved to Mexico. There were huge security costs.
Yeah.
I mean, huge security costs. And by the time they were done paying for security, the company discovered that they should have just stayed in Webster City because it would have been better for them. But
yeah, they made a bad decision there. I feel bad for the work.
oh, also
Got retrained, and I was that's when I got down.
yeah, well, that was a good thing. I met a few of the guys, and they did move on to skilled positions in other places. But
well, it was funny. We had one of them, I would say, off work in high school. Came back here and had a degree in welding. Now he's teaching welding for us up at Eagle Grove.
oh, no kidding.
And he jokes about how I never thought in my wildest dream I'd be a professor at college.
Professor of welding. Huh?
He does a heck of a job. So, you know, it comes full circle.
Does Iowa Central have night classes? I guess I probably asked you that before.
Yeah, we do on weekends, and then we also have corrections education. We ship prisoners from the city over here, and we take welding science classes for
Oh.
So, you know, we're fully utilizing our space as much as possible. The 24/7 school in our body, that changes everything too. So it's pretty flexible today.
I really hope that that program involving inmates from Rockwell City or from wherever, I hope that's successful because you know that the lack of any skill or real hope of having a decent job is why we have so much recidivism. Of course, you and I have talked about it. I've talked about it with a lot of people.
Right. I think it's been successful at working together with the local Ted Meyer, Tim Fine, and Mike Tyson to try to get some funding to build a larger training space in the prison. Because right now, the prison never felt for both to us.
All right, Jim Kirsten has been our guest. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice for Dodge, 357.
I mean, today, would whatever it is be easier with faster, more reliable home internet? If you said yes, we have good news. Plus, you could save up to $150. Viasat offers high-speed satellite internet wherever you live, even if cable providers don't go there. So you can get online today and tomorrow. Go to Viasat.
office at 202-225-4426 or visit us online at feenstra.house.gov. I'm Congressman Randy Feenstra, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title, but a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
All right, this is AM 1400 KVFD. If you're watching on StreamYard, we got City Manager David Turk trying to get his look straight on StreamYard. You can always go to your4dash.com to see the video of this program, and you'll see what an impressive figure of manhood David Turk is. Because most certainly is, and I'm being fast for most things over. Anyway, David Turk is the city manager, and if you'd like to ask the city manager the power behind the throne, call 955-1400. That's 955-1400.
How you doing, David?
Great.
All right.
And there is officially no throne at City Hall.
No, I don't know.
We're going to get to those LeBron James big old king chairs, ESPN commercials. Sit over the city manager's spot. Or is it really Jeff Numbers who's the power behind the throne?
Accountants rule the world.
That is really
CEOs think they're in charge, but accountants are
the world. Gosh, I really think that that's an ultimate truth. Numbers rule. Numbers rule. Anyway, city council meeting last night didn't take very long. I guess I wasn't there and I didn't catch it on Facebook.
It was pretty short. It was like 10 to 15 minutes. Got through the whole agenda.
But it was you approved some big things there. I mean, you got the financing for broadband. There was a bunch of banks there. I didn't realize it would take that many.
Yeah. It was like a 6-bank group. There's 5 or 6 on the construction side, and then we have the one credit union on the what we're calling working cash loan to start our startup cash is like
startup cash.
So like $3 million in startup loan, and then there's the construction loan is the other $34 million.
All right. Why so many banks? And I don't know. A lot of people don't know. You're the expert in handling these things. I mean,
yeah, and I wouldn't even consider myself an expert since this is the first time we went through. We had an expert with D.A. Davidson, a guy named Mike Maloney, who has become the expert in the state of Iowa on broadband financing for the municipal. But our intent was to, as much as possible, engage the local banks in this process. It's different than a typical bond issue you would see the city do, where our obligation bonds are basically put out for bid, and basically investors nationwide will put in their bid, and we usually take in that case, you'd call it the lowest bidder, or the bidder that gives us the lowest interest rate is usually the one we take. In this case, it's more of a private placement where there's terms that are worked out and negotiated, and there's a lead bank, which is the bank out of Humboldt, and then they get the other banks just provide the financing. And so it's a riskier deal because it's not an obligation with the city's full faith and taxpayers is not behind it. It's the utility behind it. So it's a way to sort of spread the risk amongst a bunch of different financing institutions.
Sure. Yeah. So is that banks? Is spreading risk? Is that the bank's idea? Like, okay, we can't do this entire huge project. We'll fund this part.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. So we got various levels of financing, I think, and I'm rounding numbers. Some contributions are as high as $6 million. Some are more around the $2 to $3 million range. It varies depending on what the bank appetite was to participate in the project. And so, what we do is, as we start with construction and start incurring the costs, you start drawing on the loan, and then the lead bank then pulls pro rata share from all the other banks, and then so as the money goes out, and then when the revenues start coming in, it goes into the lead bank, and they start paying off the loans of all the other banks involved. So it's a complicated process, but it gets the community banks part of it, and community regional banks. It's not all community, but it's all banks.
Who negotiates on behalf of the city? Is it you and the city attorney?
Actually, Mike Maloney, our finance advisor, is the one.
I've never met Mr. Maloney. Where's he?
He's out of Des Moines. He works for a company called D.A. Davidson, and he specializes. For us, he does this kind of financing. We use another one of our general obligation loans, but so he's, gosh, we worked with him the past years and years ago when he's just getting started. He was with a PFM company, which is who we use. PFM. Public Financial Management. That's the company we use to do our regular bonds. He went over to Davidson and has basically created a niche for himself to do this kind of financing. So he knows generally what the terms should be, how these things can get set up with the banks. He has regular meetings over a period of about 90 days it took to put this package together. So,
well, he'd be interested in talking.
Yeah. It's a wealth of knowledge on this.
Yeah, I believe it. Is he an attorney or
no? He's a finance guy.
Finance guy. Yeah. I'm going to miss Councilman Holder. He's always the lone game vote, no matter what. I always look for Jeff to one day put forward a proposal to go smart clothing or even Central Avenue. If you don't feel like wearing clothes on the park, don't do it. Iowa City Jeff comes out.
Iowa City Jeff. He's a lame duck now.
He's a lame, yeah. He stayed true to himself. He voted no, the only vote against.
He doesn't vote no on everything.
I know he does. I know he does. And he usually has a valid concern, or he's responding to a group of constituents. I mean, he's not a ward councilman, but he's an at-large council, which means he represents the whole city, but at least he's accessible to constituents, perhaps more than others. I don't know, but yeah, Councilman. When the council last night, I wasn't there, but I'll probably look at the meeting. Is it on Facebook? Do you have on the Fort Dodge?
No,
it's not.
No, we don't.
You don't record it. Oh. Well, the Webster County Board of Supervisors does. It's for you people.
That's their choice.
That's their choice. Very nice. Okay. You don't want me to watch it. All right.
You're more than welcome to come to the meeting.
I'm more than welcome to come to the meeting. Okay. Anyway, parking is prohibited for downtown streets from 2 to 5. Define downtown streets. Is that just Central Avenue or?
It's Central Avenue and the side streets. Now, I'm going to say this, try to make this pretty simple.
All right.
For the listeners who are wondering how this works. Yeah, the ordinance did pass now, so those are the new rules once the mayor signs it and it's published. Here's the deal. The way the ordinance is written, ultimately, it is governed by the sign that is up in that area. So there's going to be some time between now the ordinance is passed. We're going to order the signs. The signs are going to get installed. So if anyone is out there wondering about it, the easy solution is, what does the sign say? If the sign says no parking between 2 and 5 a.m., there's no parking between 2 and 5 a.m. If that new sign is not up, that means you can still park there between 2 and 5 a.m. There'll be a sign, they'll have a red box between 2 and 5 a.m. It'll say for the whole block. So if there's a sign that says it's 2-hour parking, and think about those will always be for the entire block, but abide by whatever sign. When they get changed out with the no parking from 2 to 5 a.m., then there will be no parking. If a street in downtown does not have any signs on it, then it doesn't have a 2-hour restriction. And it doesn't have an overnight parking restriction. Our ordinance is written it's kind of unique in that it lists a bunch of streets that are included in the downtown section, but we then, whatever the sign says, or whether it has a meter or not, determine what is the parking, the actual regulations for that sign or that spot or that block, whatever that side of the street. You'll see that we're only putting up 2-hour parking signs, replacing either where an existing sign was or where the meter was. If there was an area in the downtown that had no signage, we're not putting up signage right now. That doesn't mean in the future we may put up signage depending on what is going on with the parking situation in the area. If it needs to be signed, we can start enforcing it. Because parking is a little bit. I hope that as the downtown develops, parking becomes a little bit more of a commodity that we need to put in additional regulations.
So you think that was a simple explanation?
Sorry.
Okay, please say it. Goes along.
Obey the sign.
Obey the sign. All right.
Obey the sign.
If you ever say you're going to give me a complicated,
that's good. I'm sorry, you got me on that one.
That's all right. That's all right. So we're going to have parking permits and some downtown parking.
The parking lots will have permits. I mean, I don't know the effective date of that yet. Again, it's all determined when we can get the signs.
Now, where are these parking lots where we're going to have permits at? Is it behind Larimar? Is it over by Wells Fargo? Or
behind the Larimar is always free lot. So we're going to continue that as a free lot.
That is city property.
Yes, it is a city lot. It's not in the shape of the world, but it's free.
Yeah.
What do you say? But the parking on the Wells Fargo, that's private property.
That's all private.
That's the building owner there. Now across the street, across 9th Street from Wells Fargo, that's a city lot, and that will have permit parking. Again, the signs aren't up yet, so it's not required until we have all that put up. The parking lot just north of that on 9th Street is a city lot as well. The lots behind City Hall, between City Hall and 2nd Avenue South, that's a city lot, and then behind Bruce's Funeral Home and 2nd Avenue South is also a city lot.
That's right.
And then there's the one over by the Brass Monkey is a city lot, and behind Shiny Top, just for point of reference, that's a city lot.
Yeah. Okay. Is the one by Brass Monkey? Does that have parking meters? Did it ever have parking meters?
Off the top of my head right now, I can't say. It might have meters in it, and it may retain a few meters. We're still looking at how do we do that, where we can program the meters to be, more of a not like an hourly thing, but more like a half a day or a day thing. Figure out how to see if we can reprogram to do that.
All right. Okay.
David Curtis, I guess he's city manager. But question, comment
for the city manager, 955-1400, 955-1400. So follow the signs.
Yeah.
Where are the signs going to be?
The signs will be at the entrance to the parking lots. Well, the signs on the streets, they'll probably when they're at roughly the start of that city block, there'll be a 2-hour sign. There'll probably one somewhere also along the block, but it'll say the entire block is 2-hour parking.
Okay.
We have a few spots not on the street where we enforce some, which are shorter term parking, but everything in downtown is pretty much, if it says it's not, it's pretty much is 2-hour parking.
Okay.
We also bought some houses,
some old abandoned houses, kicking people out, or what are we doing?
Well, I'm not going to agree to the term kicking people out, but we are moving. Well, there's a few houses that are occupied that we're moving.
I love Bill Clinton here. Depending on what your definition of the word is.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to kick people out. We're moving them into the street.
No, we're not doing that. We're being compensated. For both the property and moving costs.
All right.
Yes, part of the Northwest River District project is to redo the street that goes up from basically the river, the Amigos area, up to the west, up the hill by Alanco, and then out to the Starlight. So that street, especially the hill and that intersection, is going to be completely redone. It's going to be offset to make it less of a slope, less of a turn, better visibility for traffic coming in and out of that road. And that's required, and it's also a hilly area, so it's required buying some houses to have the right of way to make that work. So there's that, and then also a combination. We farther west, getting over towards not quite to the Casey's, we bought about a half a dozen properties, and that's not so much for right of way, that's just for redevelopment. These are properties that are significantly blighted, that the city's had property maintenance issues with in the past. The current owners of them are willing to sell them. So the council thought it was a great opportunity as we start to work on that corridor to even remove some blight that we need to get out of there. And I think we put up a lot of property for new development in that area.
What sort of redevelopment would you be looking for in that area?
Well,
better housing or commercial?
Some commercial. I mean, we've had, through through the Northwest River District planning, one of the things that came out pretty strong from the residents is they want a grocery or some grocery services. The tough thing is it would probably be hard to get a large scale grocery to go in that area because there's just not a whole lot of housing. I mean, there's housing around it, but typically grocers want to get a lot of room, and it wouldn't have it there. I could see, we've had some dollar store interested in that property, but I could see, in case it's expanded, but I could probably see a larger convenience store model like you've seen Quick Star do in a few areas around town. I could probably see that popping up there. I don't know if we could get a full-on grocer. I know there's been some interest in looks more on 169 area for a larger gas station truck stop in that intersection because of the traffic. So, there'll be that. There could be some new housing in the area as well, depending on how much space we have and what it looks like we can do. So
we used to have a lot of neighborhood grocery stores. I used to shop at Jack Wells down by Olson Park regularly. That's been going a long time. Many others. Fort Dodge Fruit and Grocery. A lot of
that was the problem. And I remember, when I was a kid, you go to these smaller groceries, and that's pretty much where you shop. And then they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, more larger buying power, and just people just had to drive to them.
Sure. Yeah. Well, anyway, as far as broadband services, there was some mentions in the paper about what these services would cost. And the prices are very competitive, of course.
Yeah.
Will we be able to get some sort of television service through this?
Yeah, you will be able to. Now, we won't do, it won't seem like a traditional cable television. You won't have a box on your TV and stuff like that. But we will have streaming services, whether that's something that you can purchase through our contract or a streaming service that you can just purchase on your own. For example, I have media data at home, but I purchased television from YouTube TV. Now, this is here to endorse them, by the way, but that's what I decided worked for me. And there's other streaming services like that you can get your television from. So in lieu of building the infrastructure to do traditional cable, it would still run through the fiber. I'm not saying, but with the boxes and the head and all that, we decided that it seems like the future is through streaming services. So, we'll try to put together a package where it looks like, it's a one-stop shop for those who don't want to run around with finding their own streaming service.
Sure.
And make that work. But, I think most people will switch to us and we'll get their television through us.
I visited Algona over the weekend for my 51st class reunion. We tried to have last 50th reunion last year, but COVID and all that. So we had to have it this year. Anyway, I visited a friend of mine's house who had television service through the local municipal utility, which it was very clear. A lot of channel options. And it was something I hope we have here. But when he changed channel, it showed utility or whatever the local television provider was.
Yeah, they have a municipal utility.
Yeah, they have a television. I wonder why we never did that in Fort Dodge. I mean, Spencer does it, very happy with it. Algona does it. Other towns probably a little bit smaller. Is it too cost prohibitive? Or what are we doing?
Again, you go back into, when electricity was brought to this area, some set it up as municipal utilities, and then we ended up with a private utility that's now Mid-American. So I a little before my time, with the electrification of Iowa.
Before Mid-American was Iowa Electric, there was always somebody. But anyway, anything before we close here?
No, I think it's good. We hit on the parking. We hit on the broadband. We're going to try to get that built. You're not going to see a lot of work this year, but starting next year, there'll be a lot of fiber going into the ground.
That works for me. David, thank you very much, David.
You're welcome.
All right, this is AM 1400 KBFD.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine.